What's up, guys? So I officially just got back to Prague maybe like an hour-ish ago. I got in and I went grocery shopping. All the food was my first priority, but I'm back now. I'm actually in my old apartment from when I first moved to Prague. I'm here for my last month, so I'm super excited to be back, but I have to do the whole moving in process. But I really didn't film much today just because I was on a plane for most of it, but I did want to share what happened today because it was literal hell on this plane ride dash after the plane ride today. So okay, let's give a little context. I generally think I am a pretty chill traveler, chill flyer. I have traveled plenty enough times now to know that things go wrong, things are gonna change, you can't always have a reliable schedule. I get that. That being said, I feel like when anybody ever says that they're a chill person, they're usually not a chill person, but I really am. But so yeah, last night I'm just getting on the plane. I was already at heightened emotions. I'm the type of person that if I'm too happy, if I'm too sad, I'm crying. If I'm excited, crying. Happy, crying. Sad, obviously crying. Just hungry, crying. I cry for everything. So I'm sad and stressed because I'm saying goodbye to my family, which I never get good at. I'm always awful at it. I'm so sad because of that, and right before I got on the plane I had gotten some bad news, so I was a mess, and I was irritable, let's be honest. I was irritable. So I get on the plane and I immediately go, and I'm like, you're gonna sleep and just sleep through this flight. And I don't sleep well on planes, but I found the best way for me is to wrap a scarf around my head, put on an eye mask, and lay down on my put my travel pillow on the tray in front of me and just lay down and conk out. And I did, and it was great. I slept for maybe 2 hours, and then I started getting woken up by the chair in front of me, just shaking and shaking and shaking. So the girl in front of me wanted to lean her chair back, which I guess is understandable. The chairs are a lot more comfortable on planes if you recline them back, but she wanted to recline this thing into my lap. But because my head was on the tray table, it literally she just kept pounding it into my head. So now my head hurts, I have a headache, I'm uncomfortable and crammed now because I can't sleep in the position I want to sleep in, and I'm just irritable. But you know what, I'm it just, be flexible, Jess, it's fine, cool, calm down, you can't public cry on this airplane, that's embarrassing, just cool your jets. And so I just wrap up, go back to sleep. And the airline I was flying was British Airways. No shade to British Airways, they were super great. I love flying with them. And one of the great things about them is they serve really good meals. However, on this flight, they decided to serve some kind of curry, which for an airplane curry, that's freaking amazing. The guy next to me decided to get said curry, and it was fine. I was I'm not even waking up for dinner. I'm just gonna stay here with my eyes closed and hope nobody talks to me and leaves me alone, because I will then cry. Even if someone's nice to me, I will cry. And then maybe 5 minutes after dinner starts getting delivered, there's a bunch of turbulence. And honestly, turbulence doesn't scare me. I know it does for a lot of people. It doesn't really bother me. But homeboy with his curry decided the best way to handle having a sloshy curry and turbulence was to hold it. And in doing so, he decided to chuck it freaking on me. So crying, I am a mess, but you know what, it's fine. The flight goes by pretty quickly. I watched a really bad Amy Schumer movie, but it was funny, but it was just not that great. I get through the flight, it's fine. We land and the pilot comes on and he's we landed 20 minutes early. This is amazing, congratulations. And I'm whoa, redeeming qualities. No. The thing is, I was flying in to London Heathrow, and if anybody knows anything about London Heathrow, or probably you could just make assumptions based off of London in general, you will know that this place is literally the worst airport in the entire world, simply because it's too big. It's too much. it's just madness. It's not ever organized well because there's just too much to organize. So my flight flies in to Terminal 5, but we end up having to taxi on the runway for 30 minutes. And this happens all the time at London Heathrow because there are too many flights coming in and leaving that there's just not a place for people to park their plane. But so we're like, yeah, we're 20 minutes early and now we're taxiing for 30 minutes, so we're late. And the thing with this was I had a connection to my flight to Prague in an hour and a half. Originally it was supposed to be 4 hours of a layover, and then the airline changed it, so I had an hour and a half. And you would think, you know, an hour and a half, like, that's not that bad. Like, you can definitely do that in time. But this airport, man, let me tell you, it was like setting up every possible scenario to stop me from getting to my gate on time to board my plane. So we that's not even one. We fly in to Terminal 5. My flight leaves in Prague from Terminal 2. Now, in order to get from 5 to 2, you have to take a train and then you have to take a bus. And so they come over the loudspeaker and they're like, if anybody is connecting to Terminal 2 or 3, you'll have to take the train. It's very easy to find. There are very clearly marked signs, and get on the train, you'll get to your terminal. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. Of course, I'm also in like the very last row of the plane, and so I have to wait for everybody to clear out. People are taking forever and I don't have patience, and I'm basically just still crying. And so I get off and I just like, I book it. I'm like, well, walking past people, power walking, because I'm like, okay, I only have like an hour and a half now. I got lost. Everybody was confused though. I don't think it was just me. I don't think it was clear where like the train was, but you know, maybe it was and I was just like too frantic to notice, but it's fine. That's like literally the like most chill part of the story. So I get on the train and I get over to the connection bus to actually get to the terminal. And the thing is, the train was like super quick, super easy. It took like 3 minutes and it wasn't too full, like it wasn't packed, it was fine. So I was like, you know, the bus shouldn't be that bad. But it says on the sign the bus takes 15 to 20 minutes to get over to Terminal 2 and 3 or whatever. And so I'm like, okay, so if I get over there, I'll have an hour to get through security checks again, because they make you do security again, and get to my gate, and it will be fine. Everything's gonna be fine. Just like, why are you panicking? I feel like I should know better than to tell myself it's gonna be fine, because usually that's when things are not fine. So I get to the bus terminal and it's just like the most, you would think like the entire population of like the UK was waiting to get over to Terminal 3. It was insane. Like the line was like comically like zigzagging back and forth. Like you couldn't even see where it was going. And luckily the bus was big, so like big loads of people were getting on at a time. But it took 45 minutes for me to catch this bus. And I'm like, I'm the type of person, I like to be like 3 hours early for everything, so just anything last minute just really stresses me out. Large crowds, not a fan of, but you know, I'll put up with them. But literally, this bus situation was so frustrating. So I finally get up to the front of the line and I'm going to the doors to get on the bus, and the guy says, wait miss, there's not enough room for you. And I just started crying again, because I had too many emotions going on, too many feelings to feel. At this point I've been drenched in sweat because our plane was actually like really hot, so drenched in sweat. I looked disgusting, I smelled disgusting. I just wanted to catch my flight. Now I think this guy could tell that once I started crying, it was gonna go into full meltdown mode if he didn't do something very soon. Like you could see the terror in his face, that it was like, this is a girl who's going through a lot of feelings right now, like literally crying. And so he's like, you know what, let me just see if I can move some people up and we'll get you on the bus. And I'm like, thank you, it'd be so meaningful to me because I'm gonna miss my flight and I just want to get home to Prague. I'm a mess, crying. And so he's able to like squish people up, and I get on. So I'm like, you know what? It's fine. I just waited for 45 minutes for this, and it takes 15 minutes to get over to my terminal, but I'll still have 30 minutes to get through and get on my flight. Like, what could go wrong, right? So then you have to go through security again, which that's common, and I feel like it's usually slightly less intense since it's your second time going through security from your connection. But I don't know if you've ever been to like any kind of London airport, but I feel like the TSA agents in London are the meanest TSA agents like I've ever experienced. Most places, I also know this is coming from a place of very like white privilege. I'm not generally like randomly selected because I don't look like a terrorist, but like usually I have no problem with TSA agents. They're so sweet and kind to me. They'll rush me through. Like I even once was about to miss my flight in JFK, and I literally like went up to an agent and was like, I'm gonna miss my flight, and they just like walked me through security. I didn't really even get checked, which, you know, is an issue in itself, but generally I have no problem with TSA. So I'm like standing in line, and once again, everybody who basically was waiting for the bus is now waiting for TSA, so there's crazy zigzaggy lines, and I'm like, what do I do? And I overhear these three women, they're not together, just random strangers who all figured out they are also on my flight going to Prague. And at this point, our gate is like open for boarding. And so I hear them go up to a TSA agent, they're like, hello, like, we all are on the same flight, it's boarding now, is there any way you could get us through? We need to get through at like by no later than like 9:45. And at this point it's like 9:30. And so I'm like, oh, perfect, and they let them through. So I run up after them and I'm like, hi, I overheard what they just said, I'm actually on their flight as well, can you let me through as well? And the woman turns to me and says,
you have enough time.
And I was like, excuse me, like, my gate's gonna close in like 10 minutes, I don't have enough time. And she was like,
you're young, you can run for it.
Now, I do understand that is like a valid point. I am fully capable of running to get my plane. But I didn't want to run. I wanted to get through security and be able to leisurely stroll and not be stressed and dripping in sweat for the rest of my ride back to Prague. So, again, crying, like literally a mess. And she just looks at me, like, gives me like the snarkiest like glare smile thing and walks away. And then there was the kindest little, like, she was kind of like a little old grandma at TSA, like doing the security thing, and I literally went through the x-ray machine bawling my eyes out, and she was like, you can make it, honey, just go really, really quick, just go, you can do it. And so I'm running and I'm running and I'm running, and then that kind of ends the story. I made it to my gate. I was able to board on time, but like it really wasn't that stressful, but it felt like literally the world was against me when I was trying to catch this dang flight, and all I wanted to do was get back to Prague. But I guess the good news is I am here now. Really the only other clip I filmed from this day was the time lapse of me taking off then once I got on my plane going back to Prague, because I was so relieved I was finally on a plane. And yeah, I went grocery shopping, I came home and I stress ate a bunch of like chocolate pudding, and now I'm just chilling for the night. I need to unpack, I need to edit these couple of vlogs, I need to edit yesterday's because that goes up in like an hour, and then I probably will edit this to get ahead as well. So that was the story of my airport adventure from hell. I'm sure many people have similar experiences because I know this happens all the time, and I'm not special and I'm not unique, but I want to be. So you know what? There you go. I need to go shower though. I look like literally a butthole. Like I look, okay, I'm not even gonna go. No, I can't. Okay, too much. Okay, well, bye.